the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
Yebeka PM were the Financial and Criminal Division of the Accra High Court. Now, Godfrey Yeboah Dame are making some surprising turn of events, especially Justice Efia Asari Botri advising say on stay away from this particular prosecution. Jepara say per constitution as an Attorney General Chief Prosecutor no or be involved in the prosecution of Dr. Atoforsen and obi to say Richard Jakpa the third accused, but ye no na oye den ye present in court oye den oye cross examination, but and Godfrey Yeboah Dame in a surprising turn of events appear in court in a cross examination. Now be take three issues regarding this particular turn of events. One, Godfrey Yeboah Dame ni interest and a reason in here or decided say obey take over this cross examination. Two, appeal Richard Jakpa for the lawyers raise challenging evidence Godfrey Yeboah Dame akwakoje from the Ghana Military Service. Reasons in here the pamo obi to say Richard Jakpa from the military, and also your evidence Godfrey Yeboah Dame DPP Director of Public Prosecutions presented in court. And a third, financial transactions evidence, confidential evidence via Godfrey Yeboah Dame are presented suggest also cross-examine Richard Jakpa regarding the payment of up to 700,000 euros into his account based on payment regarding SAR ambulances, thereby suggesting they say payment has been made Ghana yenya value for money in terms of ambulances. The late president, His Excellency John Evans Atamos, promising Ghanaians say the ambulance fleet. So you got direct into the case. First, Godfrey Yeboah Dame leads cross examination, and then a major headline: the learned Attorney General and Minister for Justice Godfrey Yeboah Dame spiritedly lead legal team of the state to cross-examine third accused in the Atoforsen trial. Rebecca say adding in a way a major news. Rebecca ya sa audio in Nsem-Pii obi to say Richard Jakpa evidence PMO court to say or harassing obi to say Godfrey Yeboah Dame with over 68 messages and no Supreme Court judge so edico reach obi to say Godfrey Yeboah Dame and Nsaka no omunya exchanges NDC for the call press conferences done a political talk done a political issue judge ni kotie omo tender or court judge ni jitu mu and no advise you obi to say Godfrey Yeboah Dame say on stay away from this case, but then 27 June 2024 Godfrey Yeboah Dame decided say obe act against that particular advisor obe lead the cross examination. Now the experience Director of Public Prosecutions Mrs. Yvonne Atakra Obo Bisa leading Godfrey Yeboah Dame and then deputies in the cross examination decided so obe step back. Ama Godfrey Yeboah Dame take over obi Richard Jakpa. Now and you say the intention of Director of Public Prosecution regarding cross examination here, one, to show to the court say obi to Richard Jakpa the credibility then questionable, and then the main issue because almost show to the court say the credibility is questionable. San and Sama always regarding audio leaks, audio recordings Nina to will be brought into question. State through the learned DPP in today's proceedings is attempting to dislodge the credibility of the third accused as witness and pair projection. Also dislodge the credibility of the evidence of the audio recordings of discussions between the AG and the third accused. Sansemna media did one raising questions of Richard Jakpa's credibility. Two, or move raising questions on Richard Jakpa's credibility. The next point of call, credibility on audio recordings are presented in court last week. Now, in a ruling earlier dated trial in court, the court advised the Attorney General not to be directly involved in the matter, A reportage on proceedings suggests that Attorney General finds it prudent to still have direct involvement in the trial. He has thus been present in almost all proceedings following the said ruling and advice. Inti point already well noted. Judge, Court of Appeal judge sitting in as a High Court judge advised Attorney General so stay away or finding it prudent so be PM. No go PM court no. Aha ena nsem no ewo. Yenko first issue a PA first reportage PA court rejecting the objection to tendering of release letter of Richard Jakpa from military and say that it is relevant to his credibility. Court for objection Richard Jakpa lawyers raise here. They say adding no more sacking letter from the military in court as evidence to this case. Now, any relevant to ambulance purchasing agreement between Big C Trading and the government of Ghana. And a court in a ball on Nsem-Pii say very, very relevant. Say you be Nsem military ekafa obi ti say Richard Jakpa home a pamono from the military. You go into the details. Her leadership, Justice Efia Sewa Asaribotwe, has dismissed the objection by lawyers for the third accused, Richard Jakpa, against tendering the release letter of the accused from the military. Grounds on objection. Into one, her leadership, Justice Efia Asaribotwe, can say no. Lawyers are more can say in some military for I can't offer obey Richard Jakpa because Richard Jakpa during the cross-examination last week, okay, say now almost time military for a time into no pamono from the military into a military for the official letter. The into pamo obey Richard Jakpa from the military about a very, very relevant to say the Bema military in point normal have almost say in court. And no, and as our letter no provided by the Director of Public Prosecutions, Edebano, and no nebering ebetre. Grounds upon objection, the learned Theodore Sorry began his attack against the tendering of the said letter, showing the release of Mr. Jakpa on the ground of failure by the cross-examining lawyer to allow the accused and the witness in the box to identify the documents which contained letters surrounding his dismissal before speaking to it. The learned Sorry, however, agreed that the witness could identify only the 2007 letter to which he was copied and not a letter from the Ministry of Defense addressed to the Attorney General's Department dated June 2024. Now, Theodorus Sorry say, Tado Sorry, that is the lawyer of Richard Jakpa, say, letter na enhu hia se omobedi atum say nipa ye kan ho asem Richard Jakpa or identify this particular letter. Na otimi kire say sa letter yi ade a odi nani ehu da he can testify to it and sana court no agiatum as evidence in court. And no na said way back in 2007 the Ministry of Defense through from the military a copy obi ti say Richard Jakpa this particular letter into a letter who that dated way back 2007. Now he went on his own slot by arguing that no background existed from the tendering of the document. He quoted section 60 as a bar to the tendering of the document. Dr. Bamba tied his apron strings to that of Mr. Sorry and threw his weight behind the arguments canvassed by the learned Sorry. The learned Deputy Attorney General in some of Mukan said lawyer Sorry raises serious objections against Sir presentation of this particular letter as evidence in court. And Dr. Bamba so adding a voice say letter way and yet relevant from the military regarding this particular case. But the Deputy Attorney General, Honorable Alfred Chuyayibua, who held a cross-examination for for this part of prosecution in today's proceedings reacted to the arguments canvassed for the objection by saying that the document, which were a release letter of Mr. Jakpa from the military dated 2007 and covering letters from the AG's department and the Ministry of Defense, were relevant. Into Honorable Tua Yebua, in charge of Director of Public Prosecution's Office, are not argue on their behalf and say, letter here a free military, letter here a free defense ministry, very, very, very relevant to the case because it goes to the heart of the credibility of Obi to say Richard Jakpa, or argue said the document relates to his release and said that the same went to his character. Mr. Sorry registered a repost to the argument about the character of the witness and Nsem said was in breach of Evidence Act 1975 NRCD 323. Inti Honorable Alfred Tua Yebua said, apart from say letter ne about the credibility, ebeka about ni suban ni su ne or organizations more enema or ye ne background and an insema oka and an niema or ye in organization ni who nipa we are dealing with. Now so lawyer sorry eka say Evidence Act 1975 NRCD 323 Nsem wo honom eka say etia the Honorable Tua Yebua eka say document bi ebetimi akasa afa obi character when we come to court. Now ruling her leadership eka say or hanging decisions on section 60 and 120 of the Evidence Act 1975. The arguments in our team or hanging a decision on section 16 and 120 of the Evidence Act 1975 and RCD 323 with overriding focus on relevance. The leadership has said the witness had already acknowledged the document being tendered and has already said he can speak to it. Inti Richard Jakpa kasa share document na aka access our document way back in 2007 when who da no e pa say any document bi a ebonu hu bia any document bi a free impo free mo a ohun da any document bi a ontimi enkasa emfa ho. Inti based on that no, according to section 60 and sections 120 of the Evidence Act 1975 no, her leadership say or ruling say Richard Jakpa ebetima akasa afa document. And therefore, on official documents and the law of evidence is the same. Her leadership said covering the letters are official documents and will be admitted to prove credibility or otherwise. Now, or J letter no 2 based on section 60 and section 120 of Evidence Act 1975 and RCD 323. After Babako into the contents of the letter. Now, learned Deputy Attorney General, upon rejection of the objection now borrowed, directed the witness, Richard Jakpa, to read a portion of the release letter. Into Okasa Richard Jakpa Nankasa and kind letter out loud the Ministry of Defense through the military or the man based on the rejection from court. Now, the letter read, the release of the witness from the military on grounds of fraudulent conduct and indebtedness which his salary was used per the letter to settle. Nsem no wo. Say military fortress based on fraudulent conduct in the military, Richard Jakpa was sacked. And now omode ono salary as ye tria no bosome ekutria council here. Richard Jakpa read the letter releasing him with laughter at a point as he read portions of the letter containing more grounds for his release on ground of abrasiveness, general indiscipline, and with his conduct incompatible with decent and gentlemanly behavior. Military foreign account, military say one or you abrasive or you nipe bia neni su heja neni su sasheshe. But also you generally indisciplined or you nipa or follow rules and conduct Osanso yeden his conduct is incompatible with a decent and gentlemanly behavior. Ye can't gentleman, obi a oyeden, odi no ho so, obi a oyeden, oye decent, obi a oyeden, ode respect, odi obuo ema mpanimfo. Military say saying na wandenity in his presence in the military. Now the letter also contained his failure to obtain promotion owing to his consistent failure at his promotional exams. Inti ebe kaya ni say Richard Jakpa exams bi wo ho ontwa okotra no afeli eni no me na pam no free military. Say na say fraud bi a oye in the military. Omode ne salary twa eno na yede the borderline across through ya omode pam no from the military. Omode ne salary tete nkakra. In addition to that, he is generally indisciplined with his conduct incompatible with decent and gentlemanly behavior. Osanso yeden efeli said he will be promoted after consistent failure of his promotional exams. Into this was what Todo Sorrow now oyeden all fighting very, very hard say ebekwa PM as evidence in court. Now Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, in addition, I can say certain confidential state documents be a bois a solidifying the case no or person or anything in camera. You go into that. To what appears to be an unexpected surprise from lawyers for the defense and members of the gallery, the learned Attorney General and Justice Minister took over the mantle from this learned Deputy Attorney General in cross-examining Richard Jakpa today, 27 June 2024. Enti already know lawyers of Richard Jakpa, lawyers of Atoforsin, or many Dasuda say Attorney General will take over. But this particular document from the military and they decided say Attorney General will appear in court. Now, Attorney General, what appears to be his strategy, chose not to be cross-examining counsel of Richard Jakpa on matters of his credibility. His part, as it appears from a strategy playbook of the prosecution, was to hit the witness on questions bordering on the incorporation of the company of Richard Jakpa and the involvement of Big C Limited in the purchase, shipment of vans purported to the ambulance, which are deemed by the court to be worthless. Indeed, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, in as much as military for no throw the reasons in Tiamo Pamo Richard Jakpa from the military no, or deciding say on Busano on emphasizing so much on the credibility, but over emphasizing on financial transactions via a course between or no Richard Jakpa and that of the government, incorporation of Richard Jakpa at business. Or say the learned and respected Attorney General through questions suggested to Mr. Jakpa that he was the mind, soul, and body of the company, Mr. Jakpa at business, which was involved in the procurement of the ambulances, the subject matter of the ongoing trial. Also, ambulances send me same now. One is smartphone. Even though Dr. Kesato force in a tapering Ghana for up to the tune of 2.37 million, according to that of the prosecution, about una nipa na oyeden udihu akonyaba. Now, Mr. Jakpa admitted to the fact of the directorship, board chairmanship, and other elements of the company ownership and director relationship with Jakpa at business. So say ampa me na Jakpa at business, many board chairman, me sanso na me director. Now he agreed with the suggestion of the Attorney General, whose questions appeared crass and pointed, that the government announced the intention to purchase ambulances and his company offered through proposals to procure the needed and announced ambulances for the state. He didn't dispute it, he endorsed it, or jitumuse ampa or no na odi hu akoniaba regarding that ambulances. Inti ambulances nsem na Richard Jakpa se ampa mia na sumafo mena na meyeden midi hu akoniaba. So there's no doubt about that. To a more critically attentive Justice Asari Botri, the learned Attorney General dived into matters regarding the incorporation of Big C Limited, the overseas company based which they exported said ambulances to Ghana and received payment directly from the state through owing to its relationship with Japa at business. Aha and Justice Asare Botry on running a so pass it question because ampa Jakpa asanji atum say ampa mena na yede medi hu akoniaba enti udi hu akoniaba sen ene yede ekosi ye Mr. Jakpa naturally rejected the knowledge of the incorporation details of the overseas commercial entity and Spirited suggested to the Attorney General the certification of Jakpa as business and Big C in quality assurance for their nature of business, which is the sale of ambulances, suggested incorporation of the company before the contract year. Until say Big C for now omode ambulances ni free Dubai in India. Time a year found the company in India, na me there, mini humbi, mini mu asembia. But Jakpa at business in Ghana there, me and midi enim kind. Now, through the yearly renewal of Big C to ensure quality compliance with World Quality Assurance, Mr. Jakpa sought to suggest to prosecution that the business partners of Jakpa at business in the ambulance deal were incorporated before the year of the contract between the government and Jakpa at business for the supply of ambulances. And so, through public procurement means Big C trading. Each and every year for World Quality Assurance or more renew or more compliance letter. Or say the business partners of Jakpa at business in the ambulance deal were incorporated before the year of the contract between the government and Jakpa at business for the supply of the ambulances. Moving forward, now I have a public procurement issue. You call parliamentary approval. Attorney General sought to suggest to the third accused and witness under cross-examination that Big C was never referred to in parliamentary approvals of the agreement for the sale and purchases of ambulances into Ghana. Despite admitting this, Mr. Jakpa firmly suggested to a prosecution that the contract amount was justified per the specifications indicated for the ambulances to be purchased and delivered by Jakpa at business. Until sure, Attorney General is going through procurement processes. One, procurement AJ Big C Fortum. The next point of action, Parliament. Or say Parliament any form of approval. Under cross-examination, Parliament never gave any approval of the agreement for the sale and purchase of ambulances into Ghana. Inti Adiana Dr. Kessel Atofos in Ekoye Krata letters of credit or co-signing it did not have parliamentary approval. That's the long and short of questions are Godfrey Yeboadame or the Busa Obi Tise Richard Jakpa. Now yenko into the 700,000 euros. Mr. Dami suggested to Mr. Jakpa to his admission that he received 28% of the entire amount paid directly to Big C's by the state through letter of credit. The letter Attorney General suggested to the witness that the said amount of 700,000 euros, which the witness did not deny as readily did not remember the actual figure of 28% translated into. And apart from the fact said Godfrey Yeboadame raised the issue said Dr. Keso Autoforcing raised letters of credit up to the tune of 2.37 million euros to Big C Trading. Exactly 28% as commission, 28% for whatever purpose, 700,000 euros. Echo obiti se Richard Japao, 28%, 700,000 euros, and echo obiti se Richard Japao. Now proceedings continued in camera as the Learned Court of Appeal judge, sitting as an additional High Court judge, cleared the courtroom, leaving only counsel for both parties. Baby a drew, sikene mo chiche, baby a sikane fire, when a sign a letter way, and Justice Asare Botry said, baby a Attorney General de namno, etro. Into courtroom obian de Nsem-Pii no discussing in Canberra issues regarding transactions of the 2.37 million euros. And Godfrey Yeboadame said no cross-examination, public cross-examination, because on the 2nd July 2024. The cross-exam, depending on the manner and answering of questions by Richard Jakpa, ebe take it 3 solid hours and sana wiring wetimi ewie. So that goes to show say one, Godfrey Adame has been successful to show that there are questionable character traits based on evidence. Ministry of Defense through the military present here was also show Richard Jakpa said or the 28% of the 2.37 million. Now Richard Jakpa has to come and prove to the court the as 700,000 euros no SSS can add a ban near ban hon then a Ghana for insa adding a can a free move. Godfrey Adame, in a surprising turn of event, decided say or no lady this particular cross examination. Thursday, next week, Tuesday, 2nd July 2024. Godfrey expected say Godfrey Adame obetwaso and also Odebema Honorable Tua Yebua. Obetima trust say in Nsem-Pii TV say Yedebebremo whenever the news breaks from the Criminal and Financial Division of the Accra High Court. Yedamasi Bibre.